welcome. This is TDF, otherwise known as the the Dreaming Flame. I almost said the Flaming Dream, which is completely different stream, I'm sure. um, and what I'm here doing today is I'm going to try and help people who are new at Final Fantasy XIV or who want to try Final Fantasy XIV and try and encourage people to give it a shot and to try and teach people the ins and outs of the game. Now, am I going to hit everything? Probably not. Am I going to am I an expert in such things? I most definitely am not. I just found in the last stream, like I said before, I rushed things. I touched on things way too quickly, and I feel like somebody who was like trying to tell people, hey, this could be overwhelming, and then I overwhelmed people with information, which is really kind of counterproductive to the learning process, I feel. So, I tried to take things a little bit slow, try and choose an area to start in that's a little less condensed in little condensed in spoilers and stuff to do. I just want to try and start off easy. And we can start right from the basics. And the first thing that when you first start the game, is you're going to be choosing your race, your gender, and I believe you choose your initial job, and I believe your starting area and your date of birth, which really isn't like the date of birth because this world doesn't have a calendar like ours, and you basically get dumped in, and you basically go from there, and you start quests, and you start doing stuff according to what the story dictates to you. This is one of the starting areas here. Its name is Ul'dah, and you know what? Honestly, I don't even know if they do this anymore. But actually, you know what? I was curious as to whether or not I should do this anymore, but I think I will. So that way, it's an easy kind of cut point for creating a highlight to move to YouTube. We're just gonna go right ahead and start from scratch. I'm gonna try a job that I've not tried before, and the best way to do that, well, okay, start a job that I've tried before in a role that I've tried before, but not to its fullest. So we're gonna go and log right out, and we're gonna start a brand new character and see how that works out. Okay, so we're gonna create a nice cut point here for the YouTubes, and we're gonna go right from here. So hi, yeah. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching from YouTube, if you're watching from Twitch, thank you for sticking around. I am TDF, otherwise known as the Dreaming Flame, on Twitch and pretty much all of social media. And I'm here today trying to help everybody here who wants to try Final Fantasy XIV. If they've seen streams about it, or if they've heard somebody talk about it, or there's been a absolute shit ton of memes about it, and you want to see what all the fuss is about, or if you're a WoW refugee or something along those lines, I want to help you out. But I tried to do that earlier in last night's stream, and I found that trying to do it from a standpoint of later content that probably isn't very helpful. So I'm going to do myself a favor if I want to help somebody out, and start right from scratch. Now, I should note that I am playing this on PC, but I am using a controller, so you're going to more or less get the console flavor of how this is going to go. However, we'll see how it sets up when it first starts up. So it's going to look a little different to you if you start from scratch in this screen here. We're going to just go back and make sure you can see the same thing. And in my particular case, what you're going to be doing when you start is you're going to be choosing your world. So we're going to show what that looks like for me, but at this point in time, you have... we're going to just use the mouse here and wait for the emergency vehicle to pass. You're going to have your, I guess, data center, of which I believe there are 3 right now. And they're basically for different sectors of the world. Right now, I'm in Primal, which is the North American data center, and then there's your servers for each. The reason you would choose any of them is usually because one is where your friends are playing, or one is less congested than the others. I went to Lamia because that's where I have friends playing. That was pretty much it, and it's not necessarily the case anymore, but that's what it is. So, we're going to start from scratch here, and we're going to hit new character. It's going to ask me if I'm sure I want to do it. I'm going to say yes. Your first selection is going to be your species selection. So basically what class, or not class. No. What species of people, or what your race is. So there are several to choose from. Some were not initially available in A Realm Reborn, or 1.0 for that matter. But this is what the selection is right now as of when this video was created. So I've pretty much made characters with everything but Lalafels, I think. I don't think I've done either of these 2 new classes either. And then once you have your race figured out, you can pick a gender for them as well. The only one you cannot select a gender for is the Hrothgar. It seems as though that in the lore there are very few females in the Hrothgar population, so there actually is a lore reason for it. However, I could see that changing because not too long ago they added male Viera where there was only females before. So I would imagine with demand, we'll be seeing female Hrothgar soon. Today we're going to be creating a healer, so I'm probably either going to go here or Lalafell, if I'm being honest, and I think Lalafell's winning out because I've not made a potato yet. So we're going to just go new right from the word go, so we're going to hit confirm, and then we're going to choose the character's clan, which is basically... Actually, I should note that in the previous, the role and gender, those 2 factors have absolutely no bearing on gameplay, whereas the clan actually does. And if you'll notice here, it'll show you your starting attributes based on what clan you pick. So, I should go over what each of these are. Let's try and make it readable here. And tell you what to focus on if you're going to pick a particular playstyle. So, okay, kitty, now's not the time, please. You avoid me all day through the day. So, if you're going to be picking a melee class, so like a DPS, so a damage dealing class that is close range, you're going to want to focus on strength. And by a secondary vitality, because you're going to want to be able to sponge up certain amounts of hits, and you're going to want to dish it out. For your ranged, melee classes, so ones that deal, or I'm sorry, not ranged melee. That is a complete oxymoron. For your ranged DPSs, dexterity is going to be a big one. So if you want to be let's say, a machinist, which is like think of it as a damage dealer that deals damage primarily through guns and machines and stuff like that, dexterity is going to be big for that one. Then all of your mages and things like that, you're going to be looking at intelligence and mind. So it looks like I may have made a good choice with going towards a Lalafell, because your intelligence and mind stats are really good. And it looks like Dune's Folk is going to be my best bet for that one. So we're going to go ahead and select Dune's Folk, because out of the two, it gives me the best intelligence and mind, which will be really good and handy for the job that I'm going to be going into, which will be a healing job. There's going to be a lot of stuff here. We're going to try and make him as short and as cute as possible. Let's give him let's see, is that the only skin colors that are possible? So yeah, now we get to create the physical attributes of the character. And now we're at hairstyle. This is a little onion bulb. That's hilarious. Alright, let's see here. And it looks like a lot of these are just generic and not Lalafell specific. So I'm going to try and do something entirely new here. Usually my characters have like longer hairstyles. I think I'm going to try a shorter one for this character. But not like a typical one from me. So I'm thinking either the pulled back, those aren't cornrows, I don't think. It might be cornrows, I'm not sure. Or something along the lines of, where was the other one that I think I liked? It's a little less, anime-ish, and I wonder if that's a word, anime-ish. I was thinking this guy right here, because I kind of like the little cuts it has on the side there. I think that's kind of stylish. So we're gonna go ahead and roll with that. Hair color. That one I don't think I'll ever budge on. Then we're gonna pick the highlight color, which will likely be about as red as I think I can make it. Let's see if there is an obvious red in here. Not really. Oh, wait. I think that's about as good as it's gonna get. Alright, so we're gonna go like that. Face, so you have your facial profile, so we're gonna roll with that. Jawline. Let's go with that. Eye shape. It's gonna be a healer, so I want him to have a little bit more rounded out eyes. Let's go with large. Why the hell not? Eye color, let's make it blue or blue-like. Do we have just a straight up blue there? Oh, that's nice. I like that a lot. Alright, eyebrows. Let's make them firm, but still angled a little bit. I think the type 1 is perfectly fine. I don't really care for the nose, because none of them are going to be particularly big or shaped. So we're going to go with something, I guess. Yeah, let's go with type 2. That seems to be fine. Mouth, again, also doesn't matter because they're not known to have big or super expressive mouths straight away. Don't want color on the lips. And then facial features. Alright, let's... Yeah, let's go for it. No tattoos, please. Face paint. No face paint, please. No, I don't want. I don't have any. Alright, let's give you a voice. Let's see what you sound like. Okay. I think these might be all the generic voices across all of the races, so just pick the one you like, I guess. Think that may win out. So once you're through all of that, on the left side here, we can go ahead and confirm. And we go ahead and hit yes. We choose a slot to put this into. So we can actually apply this to other characters if we want. Now here's where we select the character's date of birth. As you'll see, it's a little bit different. While there are 32 days in most calendar months, I believe, actually all calendar months by the looks of things, there's still, as you might see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months, much like there are in our calendar. So if you want to have it as your birthday, you can still kind of do it. So what I'll do here is I will do, because my birthday is something you'll determine, but I can go ahead and put it here. And then you can choose your, basically the representative of the 12, which is basically like the gods of the Final Fantasy XIV world that represents you. I can't remember if this actually has any kind of bearing on anything, but I do notice that each one has a color behind it, much like the roles in Final Fantasy XIV have. Actually, give me 2 seconds. I may need to replace the batteries on this. And I think I've got some kicking around. And they just fell out. It looks like may need to get some more. So, we'll wait till these burn out. But anyways, so you'll notice these two have the same color as the tank symbol. These two have the same color as the healer symbol. These two do not match anything that we currently have. And these two have the same color as the DPS symbol. I don't know if that really has any bearing on anything. It doesn't look like they would, but for the sake of solidarity on my suspicion, I'm going to adhere to one of these two. It also seems like they adhere kind of to like the it looks like like in a, I want to say, Western astrology, the zodiac, more or less. So let's adhere to that. Now, here's where you can choose your initial jobs. Now you'll notice it'll be set off in two sections: Disciples of War and Disciples of Magic. Now these are things that don't really get adhered to um, after level 30, because you start getting gear that is specific to your job and less divided by these two. The of your jobs that you can pick, it'll influence where you start your game. So you'll notice in the bottom left portion here, it changes as I'm moving across the jobs. And what kind of job you pick depends on what kind of player or playstyle you want to have. Gladiator is your tank. It's your starting class for tanking. Will get you into pretty much all of your tanking cross classes. Pugilist is a melee DPS. A Marauder is another tanking class that will get you into Warrior cross class, and Gladiator will get you into Paladin. Pugilist, I believe, gets you into Monk. Lancer will get you into Dragoon, and Archer will get you into Bard. Disciples of Magic, if I remember correctly, and I am probably absolutely just butchering this, Conjurer and Thaumaturge are... No, Thaumaturge is your healing class. That Conjurer, I believe, leads to Summoner, and Arcanist leads to Black Mage, if I'm not mistaken. I have not done Disciples of Magic in a very long time. And I can tell you right now that I've not done these two. I've done Thaumaturge because it's required for Paladin. I do recall doing that. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be going into Thaumaturge, and we're going fully all in on healing, because it's not something I've done a lot of. As I said before, I had to do some in order to become a Paladin, but I mean, you can get from 1 to 15 in Thaumaturge without really learning a whole lot about healing, if I'm being completely honest. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on the Thaumaturge. Oh, we're just going to double check and make sure. Okay, so hold on. Do I have this wrong? Is Thaumaturge a... Is that the Black Mage class? Let's read, shall we? Okay, so the Arcanist is the Summoner. I'm going to do a little bit of reading before I make myself out to be completely ignorant in this matter. I will be right back. I'm going to do some reading, and then as well as it looks like this needs some battery replacement, so I will be right back. All right, so as Starberry so kindly pointed out, I was muted for a second there. Uh, so I apologize. You guys were able to follow along. I just picked a name for everything now, and I picked the server I was going into. I just want to note that I'm going to try and keep this as spoiler free as possible. And I will be, pardon me, I will be, oh, I completely lost track my train of thought here. I will be skipping cutscenes to try and keep things as spoiler free as possible. It gives you an introduction into the place I'm going to be working into, or starting in rather, which is Gridania. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Gridania, whatever. Gridania sounds more high fantasy to me. Maybe a little bit British, I don't know. Anyway, so it's asking me the control scheme I'm going to want to use. For this particular setup, we're going to forego the controller entirely. And the reason being is that, from my understanding, healing gets easier using a mouse and keyboard. So I'm going to completely forego the console experience for this one. I'm going to hang up my Xbox controller and I'm going to sit strictly on mouse and keyboard. And hopefully that doesn't bite me in the ass. But we'll see. So, doubly learning everything new. Both you and me. Let's get through this together. So it's going to take me through the basic control scheme. You're going to, just like everything else, WASD controls to move your character around. You're going to use your left and right mouse buttons, your space bar to jump, and then your mouse wheel. And then R, I believe, is the same as your mouse wheel. You can turn the character using your your right mouse button. You move the camera. Turn the character, but that doesn't work. It just turns the camera as well. Alright, whatever. So, done. When you're ready to proceed, speak to bar tenant, which is this guy right here. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. Okay, R is the auto walk. Alright, so to start with your main screen here, we're going to try and make it so everything's readable here. You have two hotbars to start with, and hotbars are these little guys here. This guy here, and this guy up here. Those are where your abilities are going to sit. And as you can see, I don't really have a whole lot. Actually, one of them I can just do away with entirely, if at all possible. If it's going to let me remove it, because I don't need a play guide. I will be your play guide today. So my main abilities that are given here are Stone, Teleport, Return, and Sprint. They're all fairly self-explanatory. Stone is going to be my first cast, and we're just going to move right into the rest of the elements on screen here. You'll notice at the bottom here, we've got our HP, our MP, and trust me, 10,000 is not representative of like other games where, oh my god, that means you're going to have access to all kinds of spells. No, that just means that spells cost more, so that way everybody has an equal amount of a MP, I believe. It's more like a percentage than an amount. So you'll see here, this ability costs how much? 400, which is insane. But anyhow, that's your MP. Below it is your experience bar. Of course, I'm starting at level 1, and I have 300 experience points to go before I get to my next level. Over here, you can't really see, but the chat is over here, and I've blocked that just as a common courtesy. to everybody who will be playing with me today. And then we have up here our mini map. It helps us get around, but I also can use a button, I believe, somewhere around here to basically bring up a bigger version of the map. We have our toolbar, which helps us get to basic UI elements, such as travel for the map, our party stuff, social elements, system configurations, my character, so on and so forth. It's a basic look at our inventory. As you'll notice, it's all black because I don't have anything on me. We have our guild count there, which tells us how much money we have. The server, I have, wow, a ton of new mail, probably stuff from my tenured play. We have, not sure what this is supposed to be representative of, but this is like your connection. I believe it's ping, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure. And then this shows what it is in your local time. And then I think you can change that as well. Yeah, so then it shows you what it is server time. So basically what the local time is for the server. And even though this is supposed to be a North American server, holy moly, that's almost 5 hours ahead. There's no way that's in North America. Alright, so let's go over and talk to this guy. And again, we see a lot of things here popping up, and it's telling us how to initiate quests. As you'll see, there's a lot of elements here that kind of guide you through the game and help you do certain things. So I have initiated this dialogue with this person by hovering over them with the cursor and right clicking. It'll tell you some information about the quest, what your rewards will be, and a nice little graphic here. You get to accept or decline. Okay, so we're going to register with the Adventurers Guild. Then we're going to have a cutscene, which we cannot skip this one. I don't really think there's any real important information. Don't know why that one was unskippable, but I think that might be because I am a sprout. Is it really just letting us get to duties already? Oh no, okay, so this is not a quest list anymore. This is a duty list, and duty quests are called duties. Alright. So just showing us about the quest list here. So we're going to, so it says speak with Mjorne, or if that's her name really, or how it's pronounced. We're gonna go take our potato asses down to this person. And then it tells us how to collect rewards or check in the quests. Can we skip this one as well? Alright, perfect. And then complete. A large number of quests are literally just that. You walk around and you talk to people. Now you notice this marker, as pointed out here, is a little bit different. Still has the exclamation point, but there's like little flames around in a circle. It's basically, that was the symbol for a realm reborn. And then there's this one here that basically so the main difference here between this one and this one here is this one is what's called a main scenario quest. Main scenario quest progresses the story, whereas this one here, this quest with the little plus, will give you something that progresses your character in some way, shape, or form. Towards the end of the game, the big one that does this is it'll allow you to either get a large reward, or it'll give you access to an aether current. which will be required for flying with your mount, which you may get later on in the game. So we're going to go ahead and close this. This is a main scenario quest. And we're going to go ahead and actually, I'd like to point out that we got a spell for completing that last quest. We got access to Cure. So we're going to go ahead and accept this new quest. We're going to get a whole bunch of talking. It's not really important at the moment. It's going to tell us about the main menu, which we've already kind of went over. So we're going to go ahead and skip that part. And we're talk about Sanctuaries. So while we're in, so it says here that we have this little moon guy over here. It looks like a crescent moon. And basically, whenever you enter a sanctuary or a town, more or less, you get a rested bonus. So the longer you stay over there, or stay in the sanctuary, or better yet, if you end up quitting the game while in a sanctuary, you get a bonus to your EXP as you go through and do whatever it is in the game that you're going to do that gets you EXP. Gives you a little bonus, so it's always suggested that if you're going to quit the game, try and do so within a sanctuary. That gives you a better idea of how you're going to be getting experience. Gives you a nice little bonus. And then navigation tells you how to get around and tells you what to look for. We've touched on that quite a bit, so I'm going to kind of skip that. So right now, attune yourself to the Aetheryte. So we're going to talk about Aetheryte. It'll probably give us a little thing about it when we get there, but I believe that's it right there. Yep. Alright. So this guy up here is an Aetheryte. It's basically how we enable fast travel through the game. The more of these you attune to, the better, because then you get to travel around very quickly. You just right click on it, and if it's your first time seeing it, that right click attunes you to that Aetheryte. No, we're going to skip, thank you. And then we get access to what's called return. And basically we have an option, if we so want, when we attune to an Aetheryte, we can set it as what's called a home point. And what that means is that whenever you die, you automatically respawn to that home point. You can only set one, and it's one that you basically get sent to whenever you die, no matter where it is in the game that you're at. Now you'll notice there's some players here, all have different little icons next to them, but mine has a little sproutling there. And that's what I meant by sprout. That is an indication that the person is either entirely new to the job or entirely new to the game. You'll also notice that this guy right over here just resurrected right by the Aetheryte. So that was a person who had this Aetheryte set as their home point, and it died. So they respawned at that point. So we're gonna go ahead and move on. Our next check here on the quest is to go to the Conjurers Guild. So we're gonna go ahead and try and find the Conjurers Guild. We're gonna pull up the map, and it looks like we need to go to Old Gordania in order to get there. So how I knew that by looking, I mean, I have experience with the game, but you'd notice the main scenario quest icon hovered over this adjoining area marker here. So that means we need to go in there, and that's where the NPC for that is located. So we're going to go right into it. And we'll see in the mini-map, there's the two icons on here, which means the two checkpoints for this quest are in those directions. And of course they're opposite directions. Why the hell not? there is our quest giver for the Conjurers Guild, it looks like. So in this particular case, I had something to give him. This area will basically show up like a trade screen. You'll bring something from your key items that they need by clicking it and then giving it, and then it shows up here. And then you click hand over and they take what they need. I'm going to go ahead and skip. And it just tells me how to do it, even though I just told you how. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead and take a run for it. Another thing you'll notice, and they haven't really talked about, is you'll notice here that I passed what's called an Ethernet shard. Now these aren't quite the same as the Aetherite that you saw over back this way, but they more or less serve the same purpose. Whereas Aetherite will let you fast travel to different locations across the game world, Ethernet shards, once you attune to them, lets you fast travel amongst different locations in this particular sanctuary. Something I haven't had to do in forever. So, we've already done that. We've already talked about it. We know what to expect. So, while it's not entirely necessary for you to do, it is one of those things that becomes like an unspoken rule that you know how to do by the time you get into any later content. Another thing I'd like to note in the top left corner here is the main scenario quest guide. So while you have your duty list here, this will tell you what your current story quest is, and also what your current job quest is just below it. If you click it, it'll tell you where either the quest giver or your next objective is in the main scenario quest. Same goes for the job quest. So we're gonna go and find this person who's gonna give us our Conjurers stuff. Can I just heal NPCs? Yes, I can. Oh, no. I guess I can't. I have to be player characters, I guess. No. That is just a regular quest giver. We're gonna go ahead and keep moving. Keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. We're going in the right direction. Yes, we are. It has been forever since I've been in Gridania for any reason other than the market board, so you'll have to forgive me for not knowing my way around too much. God, it has been a very long time. Alright. I do recognize it, though. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys. Do we have the ability to do a return? Alright. So return is an ability that allows us to return to our home point. Something I mentioned before. It's going to allow us to get to a point for our requests a little bit quicker. So we're going to go ahead and hit that key. It's going to ask us if we want to return to that point. We're going to hit yes, and it goes through the cast. And here we are. And yes, so it is much closer. Now, your experience may differ a little bit depending on which space you start in. One of the main reasons I picked this one, again, because it's healer, but also because it's not in a place called Limsa Lominsa, which is, if you're a WoW refugee, think the Barrens, or basically any highly populated area, and you'll understand what Limsa Lominsa is. Um, it is highly populated, people setting off spell effects like crazy. It's just, it is chaos, yeah, on most servers. Alright, so I believe now we need to be a higher level, right? Yes, so we need to be... Now, at this point, you're kind of given a... Like, you can kind of get that experience any way you want. Now, by this point, it's kind of trusting you to understand how to get experience. It's saying, hey, this marker here, now that it's red, means that there's a main scenario quest available, but something's restricting you from getting it. In this particular case, it's experience. And we can see down here that we need to get a whole 580 experience points in order to continue. Well, how do we plan on doing that? So there's a few ways that we can do this at the beginning of the game. I, particularly, without really understanding how to do things, just went out into the field, killed a bunch of stuff, and that was the end of that. You have, I believe... Can we do that yet? No, okay, not yet. The main way you should be doing this is one of two ways. Sorry, I'm hearing something from outside and I wasn't sure what it was. So one of the two main ways that you should be going through this is either by going through what's called, I can't remember what it's called. I believe it's a novice network. I don't know if I really wanted to join that, because the novice network is kind of a cesspool sometimes. You can join the novice network and basically party up with what's called mentors, and their whole idea is, oh, I really hope this isn't the case, but you get teamed up with people through the chat, who their whole point is for guidance. Whether they party up with you to help take you through content, whether they're there to just guide you through how to get through certain things, or whether they're just there to encourage you. It basically gives you access to a pool of mentorship and other novices, whose whole purpose is to just get you through the beginning of the game, more or less. And I believe there's certain incentives to completing the novice network program, though we're not going to go through that today. A, because it's a little bit time consuming, and B, like I said, it's kind of accessible sometimes. If you've got a thin skin, I don't know if I'd recommend it. But what we're going to focus on is the other option, which is going through quests, which is more or less how you're going to be gaining experience. Now, most of these side quests here that are marked just by the normal bubbles are really just, they don't really build the lore a lot. They just kind of fill out the gaps for NPCs, give you a feel of what the world around you is like. You don't really add a whole lot, like I said, though. So we're just going to go ahead and skip the information on them, and we're going to, let's see. These ones should be fairly simple. You know, go here, talk to this person, go here, do this thing, so on and so forth. Yeah, those first two are go here, talk to this person. So one is already in this place. Am I going the right way? Yeah, didn't exit the right way, I guess. So you'll see one with the check mark has already showed up. So we're going to go and find this person through the map. I really should find the mail delivery Moogle as well. So it might have some important equipment for me. And then you'll notice we got ideas on how to use items. We're not going to worry too much about that right now. Alright, finally a combat quest. So, where exactly... Now, you might be asking yourself, like I am right now, because it's been a while since I've been around here. It says Slave Forest Fungwars, but where the hell am I going to find a Forest Fungwar? Well, when you're questioning your objective, and you're not sure where to look, and it's not on your map here, what you can do is using the mouse, you can actually select. So if you click on the objective, it'll tell you where to go. So we'll notice here that it's the map below this one. So you'll see these little lines here, which means that there's a area where you move between. So we're actually gonna try and get there. And it looks like it's probably one of those where we wait at a destination and they just pop up for me to kill. Alright, just 2 seconds, guys. I'm gonna turn up the heat in here a little bit. Getting a tad bit chilly. There we go. Should warm up in a second. Alright. Hopefully it'll feel better in a second. Alright, so, let's see here. Where was I? Oh, yes, we're going to be moving to a new area in a second. So you'll see this little blue area here that indicates that we're going to be leaving a zone and entering a new one. Another thing that all these lines here indicate on the map. It's not quite obvious straight away, but you'll notice it as you move through zones. It'd be pretty obvious. So we got a thing here telling us about how combat works. We're gonna go through it together, so we don't need to worry too much about that. And we're gonna talk about achievements because we just popped one for you saw how it said in here, mapping the realm, central shroud. That basically means that the entire area for this zone has been revealed. And I really got that by virtue of walking in here. There's a couple of things that we're going to want. You'll notice here there's another aetheryte that we can attune to. We're going to do that, but the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to find these fungwars. Now you'll notice all these little guys crawling around. These all are enemies. Now you notice I'm walking around them, but they're not really engaging with me. The reason being is that there's these little icons next to them, and that indicates whether or not they're aggressive. These ones are really not that aggressive, so we can walk around them and not worry about them engaging us too much, which is handy because they probably would kill the crap out of us. Now you'll see these guys here, these are level 3, just like us, and they have this little marker above them. This indicates that these are related to a quest, and we have to do something with them. And it looks like we have to slay them, so we have to find 6 of them. And it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So what we need to do is engage in combat with them, and how we engage in combat is fairly simple. We select an enemy, and then we right click. That engages combat, but you'll notice it says target out of range. It's because you're entering into what's called auto attack. An auto attack means that if I were within melee range, I just smack him with my cane, and that'd be it. Now, I can do that, but I'm not going to do a majority of my damage that way. That's what these abilities are handy for. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to cast Stone. And I got lucky because the other player character in here drew the aggressiveness of that enemy, and made it a little bit easier for me to kill that one. So we're gonna not talk about that right now. So gained experience and got progress in that quest. So you'll notice now I have 1 out of 6 as opposed to 0 out of 6. So this one we're actually going to engage on my own this time. So we're going to go ahead and using the 1 on the keyboard, because that's what it's marked on here, I'm going to cast Stone. And you'll see there's like a little clock that goes around on the key here. And what that is what's called cooldown. So you can't just go firing off Stone all willy-nilly, because as it's right now, it's your highest damaging spell, you have a cooldown time, which means that in that time, you can't cast the spell again. So you have to wait for that little dial to go around until you can cast it again. And if you time it right, you can actually preload the spell before you actually cast it. So it means that if you time it well enough, you can just continually have no space between casts, basically. Now you'll notice, now that it's close enough, in between all of this, he'll actually engage in the auto attack every now and again. Which is handy, because then that's damage between casts of spells. Not all enemies will do that, though. Some of them will stay ranged. Really depends from enemy to enemy. In between all this, we're going to try and maybe this time we'll squeeze in a cure on myself to show how that works. So let's say Force Funguar deals a fair amount of damage to me, and you'll see as we're going along, as I take damage, my bar reflects that. So we can take this time, since it doesn't do too much damage to me, that numbers are floating in the air around here, and they reflect what damage they do to me and what damage I do to them. We are going to want to go back here, though. And then there's an ability that's next to them. I didn't really believe that was actually going to kill it through auto attack damage. So basically, those numbers reflect the damage they do to me, the abilities they use, and the abilities I use to damage them. So we're going to pull that one up here. And as it damages me, though, there's that little bar underneath my name that reflects my health. So that way I'm not checking down here all the time. So the best way to take care of that is with a cure spell. And because I'm not targeting anybody else, I automatically heal myself. And what level are you? Level 8 with a mount? Interesting. Oh, maybe because you're already higher level elsewhere. Okay. Yeah, you're with Olimsa Luminsa Grand Company. Alright. Guess there's a lot of people taking up healing as a new thing. Oh. Yeah. Level are you? 72. Alright, yeah. Okay. Owl. Thank you. So something you'll notice happens a lot. You'll have people who party up. As you, like I mentioned before, sometimes it's mentors, sometimes it's just friends. Having them around for that is really, really a good way to get started. So the next thing that I mentioned I wanted to do down here was to attune to that aetheryte that we saw on the map. Whereabouts on the map are you? Okay, so a little bit to the south. Are we still going south from here? Yep. We're going to the southwest. Hopefully we don't encounter too many enemies that... Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch. Way outrank me, but hopefully aren't too aggressive to me here. There's a bridge over there. Okay. I can deal with that. Huh. And a place where sentries are doing their jobs, actually. I haven't seen that in forever. Alright, there's the aetheryte, so we're gonna just waltz on up to it. And once we have 2 attuned, we can use our teleport ability, I believe. There we go. Alright. So now that we have 2, we can bring up the teleport screen. And the 2 aetherytes that we've attuned to are right here. We want to go back to New Gridania. So that's where we're going. It's really handy. I can't tell you, it's how handy it is. Now, given when you're first starting, you're going to be kind of limited because it does require a fee. And that teleport just cost me 100 gil when I only had 150. So you're going to be limited at first, but at the end of the day, once you get towards even your cross-class points, you're not even going to worry about those fees because they'll be so insignificant that you'll rarely ever be stopped by them. But early game, like now for example, I didn't even think about it until after I noticed, and I was like, oh, right. I could barely afford that. In this particular case, it doesn't let you just complete right away. And it's not because you don't get any of this stuff or because you can't, but rather because now you don't get all of these rewards. You have to choose one. So in this particular case, you get a headpiece for Disciple of War. So your damage dealing classes or your tank classes, or I'm sorry, jobs rather. I keep calling them classes. Or one for your Disciple of, or I'm sorry, well, it's meant for your Disciple of Magic jobs, but it says for all classes, which means that anybody could wear it, really. And we're going to learn about the armory chest. And we get a new ability because we leveled up. So now we can go and do that story quest that we were locked behind. But first, we're going to learn about our character screen. This has all of our base stats, all of our information in regards to our offensive properties, defensive properties, physical and magical, mental properties, our gear, and our role. The role abilities, role stats are stats that are particularly important to our particular class that we're in right now. Gear, it shows our average item level, which really won't become relevant until we start doing duties, because duties are often locked to certain item levels to make them fair to everybody who's playing them. And then this is just basic role playing stuff from this point. I don't feel like I really need to explain this too much. Same goes for equipment, honestly. Certain roles and jobs can only equip certain types of equipment. Equipments provide buffs to the character, to their stats, in various ways. Honestly, it's fairly straightforward. Each item goes in a slot here. The only thing that really goes in the offhand very often are class specific. I'm pretty sure there's only like one or two classes. The primary one being, I want to say Paladin is the only one I can think of offhand, but I'm pretty sure it's not the only one. When you go into cross-class stuff, you'll get what's called a Soul Crystal, which is basically a representative of your job after a certain level. This is your basic character information and information about all of the jobs that you've put levels into. That's pretty much it. Does this combo with anything? It does not. So it looks like the main difference between stone and arrow, we're going to drag this over here, is that this one deals damage, earth damage, with a potency of 140. That does not mean that you deal 140 damage, but rather that's the strength characteristic, let's just say, of your spell. Whereas this one deals potency of 50, but deals damage over time. And that time is 18 seconds. So basically it deals with a potency of 30 every second. That basically this has effect. So while this may give you more damage up front, this will give you more damage over time. So each one has its pros and cons. So if you have a character that, if you're up against an enemy that you may be fighting for a bit, you would likely want to start by casting arrow and then go into stone. And then once the effect, the DOT effect, falls off, cast arrow again and continue with stone. Is this my male mogul? No, this is not. I want my male, so that way I can get cool looking stuff. Where is my male mogul? I've not had to check my mail in forever, so again, not something I regularly have to do. That's the company. So this is all the Grand Company stuff over there. I just want to check my mails. Alright, well, whatever. Not super important to what we're doing, but I think I've pretty much covered a lot of the basics in terms of how to play the game and what to expect. Because basically at this point, we're entering into a hard cycle. You know, do the main scenario quests to progress to the story. As you come up upon hard locks based on experience, you've got to go and do other quests or you do other things. I'd like to really just kind of go through this until we get to the first duty, and then we get an idea of the other way, the other main way that you get experience in this game, which is through dungeons, through trials, things like that. I don't know. I can't remember how far we get into the story before we see our first dungeon. But I guess we'll find out together. It's going to be interesting. We're going to go down here to hand in our next quest. Did I pass? Yes, I did. Where is... Okay. Alright. And I understand that we have to go... Oh, it's not Olgerdon here we have to go to. It's the North Shroud. Alright, so another zone that we haven't been to yet. There's... You know what? Let's get our mail situation sorted before we head off in that direction. Do we have that one attuned already? I guess so. Alright. There's our delivery Moogle. Howdy doody, buddy. Yeah. Can you tell me... We'll talk about those in a little bit. It's not really pertinent to where we are right now. Is this all... Ooh, mounts and stuff. Oh, nice. Okay. So, interesting stuff. So, you're wondering, why do I have access to all of these things? Well, as you play the game, you'll get items delivered to you almost entirely just for playing the game for a certain amount of time. Some of these I've gotten because of the fact that I purchased them through the Final Fantasy IV store, or 14 store. But some of them are literally just because I'm a tenured player, which is amazing, honestly. This one I can't recall if this one was through play or if I think that one might have been attached to an achievement. I don't know. think that one was for the purchase of an expansion. I'm not entirely sure. Yes, the Fat Chocobo Whistle. That was, oh, was that the sole in-game item you got for getting a Realm Reborn Collector's Edition? I'm almost positive. I love that thing. I was so happy when I was first able to ride that around. Most of this stuff is really just for show. Like, it doesn't actually have any real impairing on gameplay. It's really just aesthetic items for the most part. Your mounts are pretty cool. Some of them have some actual bearing on gameplay. I mean, I guess a little bit. Some of them move faster than others, I guess. The minions don't really do a whole lot. Barding is for um, Barding is for your chocobo. I have no idea what that is for. Oh, that's for the mount. That's minion. Okay. Oh, I actually have to turn that in at Mordona, don't I? Can I sell these? It's untradeable. Damn it. Oh, whatever. And then Fantasia. Nice. Another mount. All these mounts, and I don't think I'll be able to use them straight away. Pretty sure I have to go through a quest in order to use mounts. I think I'll be able to use minions straight away though, but we'll see. The Helm of Light. That's pretty awesome. Alright, so I'm going to take you through this just because this is stuff that you can get at the beginning of the game if you so choose, if you want to buy it from the store or something like that. So the items will initially show up in your inventory. If it's for a mount, all you have to do is right click it, click use, and it ends up in your mount list. Same thing for minions, and you'll notice the space is gone. That doesn't mean you lost it necessarily, it just means now that it's no longer taking a space in your inventory. We're going to do the same for the minion. We're going to keep the item, don't need to be using Fantasia. What Fantasia is for is so that way you can actually change up the look of your character, and I mean like from top to bottom. Fantasia is pretty well sought after, and I think I bought like one or two of them a while back, and I just ended up with in my mail. So if I ever want to change the look of my character completely from top to bottom, I can now. That's pretty cool. I forgot about that. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. This is for my living space when and if I get one. Aetheryte tickets. They basically make it so you can teleport from Aetheryte to Aetheryte using your fast travel that I was telling you about before. for free. So basically this allows me to travel 50 times for free, which is really handy at the beginning of the game. Okay. These are vouchers. I can't really do anything with them yet because I can't access the area where the NPC that you redeem them with is located. So I'm kind of stuck with those vouchers because they're untradeable, and I can't. Yeah, I just can't do anything with them. So they're taking up space for the time being, which sucks, but that's how it is sometimes. So now, can I access the mounts? Mount? Okay, I can, and I can summon them if I'm in a different area. That's right, I cannot access them in Sanctuaries. Right, alright. So let's go to the North Shroud, like I was trying to before. And that nice little icon up here is gone. The slight OCD in me is happy with that. Okay, so I got... Oh, wait, did I go the wrong way? I went the wrong way. Crap. Crap. Can I summon a minion in the meantime? Yeah, it looks like. Oof, I was not ready for this, honestly. Let's give Odin a shot. 'Cause I like Odin. He's just as big as I am. Good times. We going the right way this time? Yeah, we are. Alright. Oh. Alright. And we got that achievement for this area just by virtue of walking in. Because that revealed the whole of this zone to me. Now you'll notice this area's got a lot more going on. We're gonna go down here because this is where our quest marker is for the one quest that we do have going. But you'll notice these other zones that are painted blue on the map. What those are called are fates. And what they are, basically, think of them as like localized quests that anybody can perform. And I don't mean just like you, me, or anybody. I mean like it's almost like a team quest that you can go inside, and the better everybody does, the better everybody's rewards will be, and everybody gets rewarded so long as they contribute towards the goal within there. If I can get in there by the time it expires, I think I can, because it says 11 minutes. I'll show you guys what performing a fate is like. It's pretty cool. Some quests in the game require you to do fates. I love them because it actually strongly encourages community participation, which is a big deal. Oh, and of course there's a marker for fate participation as well. So as you walk in, it automatically enrolls you. You'll notice the item pops up in here. It'll tell you with this little bar how much you've progressed, and then how much time you have left, and the suggested level for participants. Now, generally these are in such a way that they could be, that you could participate in them in such a way that you could solo it, though it generally isn't recommended. I'm going to give it a shot, seeing as I have a healing spell. and I fell out of the Fate Zone, so I actually did not get participation for that one. What do I need to do? There's open. Oh, okay, they're down here. All right, so I see. So you notice the enemies you have to kill have these little markers beside them. I really wish I had the opportunity. So these little markers here. I'm going to go ahead and kill this one because it had the audacity to talk to me the wrong way. AKA, it's throwing its poop at me. Or I'm sorry, it's throwing a stone. Maybe it's kidney stones. You don't know that. But you'll notice as I kill one, the little progress marker here goes up a little bit. Now, generally, the reason that you want more people to participate is not necessarily because you can't solo it yourself and not survive. Sometimes that progress bar fills so slowly that you want more people doing this at once. Or, better yet, that the better results that you get past this gets you better rewards. So it's not always a case of you can't do it. It's more a matter of you get better rewards if more people work together. So again, like I said, it's really cool in that it tries to encourage team play, but doesn't require it necessarily. Yeah, there's a bunch more that appeared down here, and one just engaged me from over here. So, as you'll notice, I talked about aggressiveness before. These guys will engage if I get into range, regardless. So I have to be careful, because if I get around too many of them at once, they'll swarm me. So I just try and engage them one by one. And that way I don't end up in a bad situation. Now some of them are so aggressive that if one of them engages me and they're in range of others, it'll engage the others as well. So you have to really be careful and selective and just watch. And sometimes trial and error works too. If you end up dying, there's not a huge deal about that. Let's see. How much more do I got? Not much. And I've got plenty of time to do it. Okay, so I ended up in a situation that I was trying to avoid. That situation being, I now am engaging two of them. Thankfully, these guys are not too terrible. And that's it. So the fate completed. I ended up with... so in this particular case, we saw here that we ended up with rewards. I don't know what the medal was. It went away too quickly, but I'm pretty sure I got gold rewards for that one. Mostly because it's easy to accomplish, and I just wanted to show you guys how to get through it. So yeah, that was a fate. Now, I had plenty of time to do that one on my own, but they get more complicated, they get harder to do, and some of them require... absolutely require community involvement. There was two what I'd like to call world bosses that you can participate in A Realm Reborn, and one of them was against a behemoth, I believe, and absolutely there's I don't think I've ever seen anybody solo it. I'm pretty sure it's possible now, but at this point, I've not seen it happen up to this point. And yeah, I mean, it was every single time I've gone in there, it's whenever it appeared, there was upwards of 10, 20, 30 people at any one time trying to kill it, and it was great. I loved it. Can I actually get mounted? Yeah, I still need to progress. Okay. Boo earns. So again, a hand over. So we're going to click on the item. Click there, and then hand over. And then we choose a reward. So in this particular case, again, there's a Disciple of War reward. And then one for all classes. Don't know why there's not a Disciple of Magic specific one, but I mean, that's what the other one is for. So in this particular case, we're going to go, not map, character. Yep. We're going to go in here, and we have our items from the armory chest. Now, we have our aesthetic items here that really don't have any value in terms of actual function. So we're going to pop on our quest reward that we just got. But once we get certain types of items, we can do what's called Glamouring, which is basically making our current equipment look like other equipment that we have. Which is basically those aesthetic items that we got before. That is the whole point to them. Is that they're not really meant to serve a function. They're more or less there for looks. But because in this particular case, I don't really have anything on my head right now, we're going to go ahead and put something on that. Oh, wait, no, I do have something for my head. So that's better than everything else I've got. So let's go ahead and toss that on. Actually, there's a button here that I should probably bring to your attention that I keep forgetting even exists. There's a button that says recommended gear. So it basically suggests and gives you the option to equip everything that's set as the best for your character. In some cases, there's some very select cases, you end up with items that are just best in terms of defense or in terms of attack for your character. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best. So this is really just meant as a general catch-all. If you want to just quickly equip something that you picked up in a dungeon or something like that. So I'm going to hit equip. I completely forgot that the Helm of Light gets me an EXP bonus. So we're going to go ahead and get that on there pronto. Because it is a 25% bonus. And I do not want to miss that. So we are set for that. We're going to go ahead and use teleport again because we want to get ourselves into New Gridania. And it says, hey, you want to use a ticket? Yeah, we're going to use a ticket. And yeah, up until we start doing duties and we start messing with cross classes, this is the game. As you'll notice, you know, it's more or less the same thing as you proceed. You perform quests and you get experience and you learn new abilities as you move along. And in this case, you're really just kind of doing it to get to grasp the basics of what you're being faced with. So let's do what I normally do in this particular situation. I hoard quests. Much to my detriment, I'm sure. But yeah, that's what I do. I'm hauling ass. Holy crap. So you'll notice some of these too. You'll be like, well, okay, I understand the story quests. I need to be a certain level, but why is this one all redded out here? Well, there's other requirements for certain quests. In this particular situation, it requires that you need to be a disciple of war or magic that's at least level 60. I'm gonna say, okay, yes, so this is the quest giver that gets you access to the gunbreaker job. So, we can't do this just yet, and we're not going to be doing it for a while. But, if it ever strikes your fancy, when you become a level 60 in pretty much anything, you can go there and speak with that NPC to get yourself the gunbreaker job. But that's just to demonstrate that there are certain other requirements for certain quests. Speaking of, I kind of lost myself here. I'm looking for quests to get experience while this Helm of Light actually still has a purpose to me. Wait a second, do I recognize that? That is it's a Game of Thrones reference, is it not? Arya Morningstar. That is like one of the primary characters in Game of Thrones, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm just kind of pulling that out of my ass, but I'm almost positive. Oh, this is okay. So this is one of the gathering guilds, or crafting guilds rather. I'm not too sure I want to get too involved in that stuff just yet. But I can still do that quest without enrolling myself, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. Is there anything else I can pick up in here? Yes. There's way the hell over there, but I'm still gonna do it because I hoard quests. That's not something I particularly suggest that you do. It's just something that I do. That's how I play, and it's how I like to gain experience. I find that a lot of them are quick and easy ways to get experience. Just want to make sure the stream's running okay. And this space here is just basically a lot of vendors for early game stuff. This area used to be bustling when A Realm Reborn first came out, and really into Heavensward as well. Not so much anymore because most people hang out in Limsa and Laminsa. Not used to seeing it this empty though. Alright, where am I headed now? I completely lost my train of thought. Well, I can talk to this guy, I guess. Wasn't what I meant to do, but yeah. Oh, wait. There are people I could talk to in here about stuff. Wait, there he is. you kind of start knocking stuff off like this, you'll note that the game really isn't as overwhelming as some might think it might be, or that some might presume that it is, just by virtue of the fact that it's a MMO. Final Fantasy XIV is probably one of the best, or if not the best, MMO I've ever played, and I played a fair share of them. I find that this game probably treats you with the most respect as a player. Um, in terms of like what you're capable of right out the gate, what you like, how you can learn, and how you can kind of wander around through the game mechanics. It's just really, really a friendly type of game, honestly. And it helps that the story throughout the course of all of its expansions are really compelling. There's that other quest. Here you are. Oh, all that, and it's only going to give me 50. You better be like just a talking quest or something. Yeah, it is. Alright. You're going to find that a lot of the early quests are going to be go here. Well, I said this before. Go here, do a thing. Go here, talk to this person. Go here, slay this many of little low tier enemies. And then that's it. It isn't really until the story starts picking up at about level 30 that you're really going to notice things are really starting to change in terms of what the expectations for you as a player are. The first two places that I really kind of noticed this are, oh goodness, I can't pronounce to save my life, but I want to say the Zamel Darkhold, and what is it called? Whatever it is that the name of where you fight Titan. I mean, given the Ifrit fight has mechanics, if you have somebody take you through them, it's really not that hard to figure out. Avoid the AoEs on the ground. Wait, do I have to do something specific to this guy? Why is he not letting me talk to him? Do I have to do an emote or something? What is that one for? Level 2 for friendship. Yes, I do have to do an emote to him. Alright. So yeah, in Titan, while there is mechanics much similar to Ifrit, there is one particular mechanic that if you miss it, you die. And it's not like an if and or a but kind of situation. It is you get knocked off the platform and you fall to your death. Period. End of story. And I speak about this casually as though, oh, well, okay, then just avoid the attack, right? I see people who are high tier levels in this game still fail to that mechanic. It is one of the things in life that you can't over level. You can't just soak up the damage and then you're a-okay. You know, you have to do the mechanic properly, or else you're dead, basically. So the people who are going through like the easiest version of that fight and still failing. That kind of fight is where it really starts to kind of demand that you really pay attention. It's also at that point where you start needing to learn how to do cross class stuff. Um, and when I've said cross class a lot of times in A Realm Reborn, in order to get into certain high end, or at least what that expansion considered high end at that time, when you started getting into high end content, um, in order to get to certain jobs, you need to have certain requisites. And it wasn't like with Gunbreaker, like I told you before, where you needed to just be level 60 at a particular job of some sort. In this case, if you wanted to be a paladin, for example, you needed to have a healing class at level 15, and you needed to have gladiator at level 30. And then go speak to an NPC who would then give you your first job class, and upon completing that job class, you are then deemed a paladin by getting what's called a soul crystal. So you basically, in order to do your role correctly, you would need to have one of these cross classes done. So in the case of paladins, uh, basically you can't tank forever as a gladiator. You can continue to level gladiator up, um, but certain equipment stops becoming available to you after a certain level, which means that and then also certain abilities, I guess. Um, and you just become a less effective tank. You can try and force it. I did. Um, and it just didn't work out. The moment I went and did the cross class and became a paladin, everything got much, much, much easier for me. So you might understand how trying to force it doesn't help things at all. I have another thing right there. Should have probably done that a while ago. Oops. Oopsie daisy. This video is more for YouTube anyway, so... I mean, not that I think anybody's gonna watch a 2-hour tutorial on how to play healer, but you know, considering I've done very little actual healing. But you know, let's see. Let's make sure everything went out properly. Alright. So back to here. Let's see. Is it closer to go to these guys or to go all the way over here? Whatever. I'm going to give you guys a heads up. In about an hour, I'm going to take a break to make lunch and eat it. Because I don't like playing and eating at the same time. So I'm going to take a break and maybe watch a movie or something like that. I'll still have this up. Actually, I may take it down just for the sake of clipping this. Because I think I've covered more or less everything I want to in regards to the basics, because I don't think I want to get too much into rotations or into like deeper mechanics and things like that, because again, I think I dove way too quickly into that earlier. And I think that really kind of set the wrong precedent for what to expect with Final Fantasy XIV. So, keeping it simple. I can't really skip this. Clicky, clicky, clicky. Yes, of course. This is just basically me submitting myself as a conjurer, even though I started as one. I don't recall which one should be going here, Crimit. And I guessed correctly. Do we have another one? There we go. What was that? That one for? Oh, it's not going to let me click on it. Alrighty. Well, there's another way to get into achievements. Let's see here. There it is. Last 5. Complete 10 unique quests. Nice. I'm kind of hoping that in having this video up, it'll help people understand how to play the game, but also get a little bit more out of this than just, you know, the kind of the more robotic instructions that the game gives. That even though it respects you as a player, it still comes off as like mechanical almost, I want to say. Actually, am I even going to get to any of that stuff? I mean, I'm not really going through the main scenario stuff at all. I'm just doing all the quests because that's what I do, and that's how you get levels in early game. Oh, this is a searching one. Alright, yeah. So click on that. And I think after this, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be starting this as a healing for dummies kind of video, and just basically, no, can I jump down there? Yes, I can. Sweet. And starting this from this point as less of a how to start Final Fantasy XIV and go more into how to heal, because doing with keyboard and mouse is supposed to be better, and it's almost entirely a new thing to me, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm actually